What up, y'all? We are here for our weekly romance oracle message. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. I got to go on a walk today. Got to tithe, which whenever I feel stressed out, that always makes me feel relief. I popped out to the store, did some very light activities, but yeah, I took a nice long walk at dusk and just let my brain do whatever it wanted and needed to in order to settle down. So this is the first time I've really decompressed in the last few weeks. So, I don't know if you guys heard, but there's an apparent ceasefire, at least on the table, or being discussed and agreed upon right now overseas, but some lessening, I think, in intensity, but the conflict is still ongoing. So I don't want to really count those chickens before they hatch, but, let's pray that this is a true step towards a peaceful resolution for all. So hopefully the best scenario happens and it's already unfolding. That's what we can hope for. So it's annoying when the worst villains of the whole thing finally decide to say they're going to put an end to it, and then they celebrate like it's their win, like they did something great. It's just it's this added layer of insanity, but peace is the important part. So let's see what we have in store for the week ahead as it pertains to our love lives. Ooh, it is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. So I was just going to say that before I read the little subtext. It's like if we want love in our life, we have to open up our heart. And especially when it pertains to just opening up our heart in general, to the world, to others. And it doesn't always, sometimes that feels scary, right? Because for instance, like right now, when you open your heart to others, it means that you're probably going to be seeing a lot of distressing things, and you might feel more distressed about things than other people that have a closed down heart. However, if you have a shut off heart in general, it's not like you can shut it off partial part of the time, like an alarm system. It's like your heart's either shut off and shut down or it's not, and so if you want love in your life and you realize that you're hiding your heart in other parts of your life, trying to keep it shielded from, reality and discomfort and all of that and risk, then it's going to be shut down and it's not going to be open to receive. And it's not going to be putting out a signal, right? So we have to let our guard down and feel safe to love. For instance, okay, so I have been trying to tithe directly to individuals that are overseas and in, absolute desperate need and urgent, right? I've been trying to give in a direct way. Whereas many times I will give to things like Charity Water, who dig water wells. And these are things that start developing places who are still struggling to meet their basic needs. And so therefore they can't have as much time to devote to their education and whatnot. And so it's a real burden and it keeps many people suppressed around the world. So donating to digging a water well is the kind of a gift that it's like loaves and fishes, it expands and it keeps going on perpetually, right? So, and they're 100%, Charity Water is 100% donation, and their overhead is run on private donations and things. So that's one thing that I like to do. But when there is an urgent need, like a big natural disaster, or for instance, a war or a genocide going on, or a famine or something like that, you pick a cause, right? There's so many people in the world that need our help. Sudan, Gaza, Congo, right? Gaza. So, you can find people, in immigration, there are children who aren't being represented in court. and they're alone, and like little toddlers having to go. And so there's like legal firms that are taking them on and defending them, but you can donate to those kinds of things as well. So, I've been donating. Sorry to get off on a tangent there, but I think it's a good one, right? This message is brought to you by God. And so this is just a little advertisement for what you can do to give back, right? Tithe, give to people who need it. So I had been doing that, and I'd been trying to discipline myself to do it every week. And then the added layer of the sense of urgency, and need of the things that I have been trying to donate to. And then it was like last week, I don't know, I was emotionally exhausted. I was spiritually just like, kind of almost like, just like I wasn't depleted, because it was like right in the middle of Rosh Hashanah. I was spread so thin, and I started feeling fearful, with the authoritarian tone, that's like kind of like a cloud hanging over us right now, and, just feeling exposed. And, I didn't know, just like I was just kind of frozen, and so I missed my tithe last week because I was just so distracted and kind of frozen, and, that kind of fear and confusion and overwhelm. And then like this week, it reminded me like, oh, I let that slip that last week. And it was, it didn't feel, it felt like something was unsettled. And so I, was able to get back on that today, but it was like feeling like it was safe to open myself up to make an act of faith that stretches me out of my comfort zone, out of my certainty, or feeling like, oh, I've got, the financial pressure, here, and the uncertainty in the air, and the fear just starts, compounding, right? And then it starts to control your responses, and you're reactive to it. And then you're, bound to it, and you're serving it, right? And who is the giver of fear? Not God, right? So, when something snaps and you jump, it's like you've given your power away to that thing, right? So our reading last night was talking about facing your fears are required right now in order to kind of open you up to greater blessings in your next level. And it's going to be like sort of proportionate to the effort that you give, and what you give, and what you're able to transform, and the depth that you're allowed to face yourself and face your fears. And it's interesting. My teacher, Michael Berg, the head of the Kabbalah Center, him and his wife, Monica Berg, he was talking about how this year, the numerical value of the year we're in has the same numerical value as the word judgment, din. And so it's like this year has the kind of capacity to be very like binary, either like bless, it's like oy vey or oy and a shave. It's like either the person's going to be kind of cursed or blessed. Like if we do negativity, if we have seeds of negativity in our consciousness, if we plant negative seeds, if we do negative actions, it's like that judgment is going to immediately come back and show itself. But also like our earnest transformation and our earnest goodness that we add to the world, and the light we reveal, in the ways that we're able to overcome our own negativity and darkness, then that also yields greater blessings and light in the world very quickly. I saw it as a good omen. So in our manifestation message Tuesday, the message was like, pay attention to signs and synchronicities and omens, because they're messages from the angels of the universe. And tonight I went out to the store for a couple of things, and I got this like gelato. It's like banana flavored with caramel swirl. And so I was excited to try it, but then I dropped the lid and it was going to land on the kitchen floor. And I was like, no. And I just kind of watched as it happened, and it landed like the ice cream side up. And I was like, yes, good judgment, good, the blessing, like it landed blessing side up. So I was happy about that. So to say for us to love, open your heart. Okay, because as we open our hearts and keep our hearts soft, that lets every kind of love in. Oh my gosh, true love. This was on the bottom of the deck when I was shuffling. True love. This is the romance of a lifetime. So, okay, safe to love and romance of a lifetime. So very nice. If you're already with somebody, you can feel very comforted that this is like a great partner for you. And if, for those of us who haven't, maybe someone's coming soon that's like, you know, a really good match or truly compatible, someone who's safe to open up to. Okay, finances and career and playfulness. Okay, so remember how we were saying that the more that we give Jupiter as far as like our transformation and our willingness to face our fears, then the more Jupiter will like amplify that and give back blessing, sustenance, and, you know, expanding our consciousness. Well, finances and career. So how, you know, maybe like our Venus themes are all intertwined. So love and relationship, our self-worth, and career and finances, right? So if you're having trouble if we're having trouble in our love life and we want to call in, you know, that love partner that might be, okay, it's safe for us to love, true love, then it might be a financial wound that we need to focus on doing the work and show, like, heal an issue of self-worth by working on our finances and our career, right? Maybe in like we feel we deserve a good partner and we know what we deserve in love, but we're still mirroring an image of low self-worth, vibrationally speaking, by allowing ourselves to be sold short, either in our career or how we are dealing with our money, right? Maybe we're not respecting our money enough and taking it and planting those seeds. Maybe it's something that we could put more focus on, have more consciousness around, change our consciousness, and start adopting behaviors that mirror high self-worth within our career and finance. Things that align with our authenticity and what we feel we truly deserve. Now, that is not to be heard as have a sense of entitlement and just take and take and take, but that is when you truly put forth an effort for yourself. You give fully. You do your best. You take pride and you take action with intensity and fire and fervor. But you also expect to have an equal and fair exchange in the process. So doing, you know, something that shows that you not only respect yourself, but you respect your finances, right? If you are pursuing a dream, for instance, or a goal or creative project, it's like you have to consistently keep showing up for that. And by consistently showing up for that thing, you prove to yourself, you build your self-worth, you build your self-trust because you're constantly showing up and investing in yourself. So too, we learn to those behaviors and the other ways that we apply those. We invest in ourselves financially. We start learning how to manage our money and save and create new money and generate more money, more security, or, you know, working smarter, not harder, kind of things like that, right? Where you give yourself security and cushion so you can enhance your life with the things that you really value. But you can also be mindful about that and trim out the things of your life that you don't value, that you're squandering your resources on, or your time that could be used in your energy that could be used towards like putting some attention into the career and finances. So when you invest in yourself, then it's like that raises the bar of what you know, see that you can desire and call in and what you deserve from love and a relationship and partnership, right? And you also realize the value of giving in the relationship as well, right? So there we have it. And then our final card from this Romance Angels Oracle deck is to recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. So show your light side, be playful, be in that playful aura. I'm wearing a dress that I think is very much like cottagecore, and I went out in my walk today and it's like autumn, but the leaves haven't changed here. They're still green. So people are really craving those like fall colors. And I had some really good prayer this afternoon, and I just felt like I had this natural aura about me, and it like my coloring looks good in the forests around like magic hour. I can't lie. And so I could tell people were just so drawn to this fairy tale-esque character that I was bringing to the trails today, and they were really like responding to it. Like I could tell they were just sort of marveled and like charmed. And same when I went into Kroger a little while ago. So bring that lightness with you, and it will emanate from you. And people are very attracted to that, whether or not they're men or women. And, you know, that can get you a lot of grace in a lot of situations too. If you're the charming person, you know, in the situation, even strangers will be more apt to want to, you know, help you and be, you know, on your side and like be like, oh, please, this way. It's so funny saying that, because in the cheese section tonight, y'all know I'll be haunting the cheese section, these boys were like, I could hear, there was like a cart in the way with like all these like containers on it. So we were trying to lean around it and look for the cheese that we wanted. And I could hear them, these little brothers, like they were running in looking for Parmesan. And they went over near what I know to be the soft and fruity cheese section. And I was going around towards the olives, and I noticed that there were blocks of Parmesan. And so I just held up the Parmesan and I just said, but you know how when you think a thought and you can think a really long paragraph of thought in like a very split second? Well, it was like that. It was like slow-mo. It was like I held up the cheese and just went, Parmesan. But like in my head, it was like in slow-mo. In my head, I was like, oh no, I should probably say, hey, were you looking for Parmesan? And I just was like, Parmesan. And of course the boys were like, oh yay, thank you. But this man behind me was like, oh, at least wait for her to cut the cheese. I guess he thought I was just like talking to the woman behind the counter, but like what? So like I can't walk up and like confirm this is Parmesan that you having a cow? It was really funny. No good deed goes unpunished. Okay, let's get some more insight on it is safe for us to love. Like what? What do you mean by that? Ooh, solar plexus. Y'all, this is the solar plexus are here at the rib cage, and this is the chakra that has to do with our self-worth and boundaries and, you know, feeling of like a sense of like security and confidence. It's also our confidence to follow our intuition, and it has to do with our drive and our willpower. So I think that this Aries new moon is, or Aries full moon that just passed, is sort of like giving us that sense of piss and vinegar again. I think last night I said some saucy things online before I went to sleep, and then I woke up today and I was just like a repost fiend for, you know, like just spreading like the world with like information and love and hope and like correct information, you know, like just trying to do good things, you know, spread the good news. So yeah, I think that sense of moxie is tied to like your general drive and your willingness to go after things. It's like you have to feel safe to do that too, because if your heart's shut down, then you're afraid to open your heart up to your endeavors, right? You're afraid to put your heart in anything because you're starting to get cynical, like, oh, what's the point, you know? So it's like this extends into our boldness out in the world, but also our confidence and our attractiveness, and that connection with the creator. And I think that the more, like, I know for myself, when someone is a go-getter and they have energy and they have self-discipline and confidence and they have drive and they have like a connection to their intuition, like, I mean, that's very attractive to me, regardless of whether it's romantically attractive or friend attractive, or I'm a fan of your business or your brand attractive. Like this is a very positive, advice card for us to focus on that aspect, our relationship with God and with ourselves in that way. So good. I wonder how we're aspected with Venus right now, because this feels like it must have something to do with the astrology. Venus, let's see. Looks like Venus is trining Jupiter. Oh my God. No wonder. And Venus is conjunct with Saturn. Oh my gosh, setting the boundary, self-discipline, y'all. Holy shit. Let's see. Jupiter is square Chiron. So squaring off with our inner healing and the wounded healer within us, the lifelong wound that has resulted in our struggle with self-worth, which also probably ties into whatever struggles you've had in career and finances. I know today, one of the things that made me glowing in the woods was that something came over me, and I was like interceding in prayer for my father, and to pray for him, and to almost like come to this sense of like forgiveness and like cutting the cords between us, the cords of pain. And it was weird because when I came out of the woods, I just felt like almost like I was radiant. And I had also had sort of a vision of sort of like a spiritual sort of initiation that came after that too. So it was very interesting. But it is usually, you know, our healing with our parents that, you know, it's the parent wounds that affect our love lives, because they show us what a love relationship looks like according to them when we're in our most vulnerable and impressionable stage. So we have those patterns kind of implanted in us, and our reaction and how we, you know, view that pattern as what we think love's going to be like. So we're coming to terms with that in our subconscious sometimes, and we don't even realize all that stuff's going on. So forgiving our parents and learning and healing those wounds they directly affect our love lives. Okay, let's see what else was going on today okay, so Neptune trines Uranus, ouch. Wow, trident up our butt. Let's see, and then I believe Uranus is, oh no, so sorry, that wasn't Venus trine Jupiter, it's Venus sextile Jupiter. And Uranus sextile Neptune. So revolutionary, death and rebirth, you know, reset. Neptune, like on, you know, a deep spiritual level as well. Neptune trines Pluto. So death, rebirth with a spiritual issue. And then Neptune is trined Pluto. So a positive, you know, end, like a happy ending in that healing as well. Wow, what a day. And then on top of it, we had the moon trining Venus, like seeing the things that have been hidden about our issues with Venus. So having revelations about that today. Moon sextiling Jupiter. Okay, so we did have that Jupiter card that came out yesterday, and I was like, this is going to be a big contender for the week. It must be like some kind of astrological aspect happening right now. So it is. And so the moon is trining Jupiter. So, oh my God, you guys, we had the moon card and Jupiter on the same day yesterday. So yes, the lesson we had yesterday about like what we give to the Jupiter as far as like what we're willing to face inside of ourselves and the fears that we're able to face, that's going to have an impact on how much our blessings are expanded and sweetened right now. And let's see, the moon is not conjunct, but it's like with Chiron, oh no, moon, that weird one with Uranus. And I think it's kind of one of those uncomfortable aspects. So moon uncomfortably aspected to Uranus and moon uncomfortably aspected to Chiron. So yes, something that was maybe hard to look at and hard to deal with, or maybe hard to swallow. Maybe it was a hard pill to swallow, but we did, and it was a big deal. It was a big transformation. So that is very exciting. All right, let's get some more insight on true love. Love abounds. Ace of Cups. Okay, new love is coming in, y'all. I mean, if you want confirmation on it's safe to love, you've done this major healing and true love is coming. This is the love of a lifetime. It's about to start new cycles. So anticipate with excitement and positivity and optimism. Open your heart. Work on career and finances right now because it's only going to get you closer to that alignment. So career and finances, okay, take the lead. 3 of Wands, which is literally like the wands is about your fire, your spirit, your sense of drive, industry, and how it connects to not only your connection with the creator. I was going to say this is like wands energy all over it. 3 of Wands is about like the pieces coming together and like looking out at greater vistas, and you're about to like move on, you know, to bigger and brighter and greater and more expansive horizons. So your vision is about to expand, but also your expansion into that vision is about to flourish. Okay, and then playfulness and Emperor. So again, like re-emphasizing the take the lead. In fact, I'm going to use this as these 2 cards came out together. So I think they're both talking about career and finances. So it's like you have the potential to expand and have a big growth spurt, but it's up to you to get the shit together and take control of your kingdoms. Get control of your mindset, get control of your energy, get control of your focus, and like take that new sense of self-worth and put it into action. Be sovereign over your time, your energy, your consciousness. Be focused and be so disciplined about staying in alignment with your values, right? So when you know it's really important, it's not hard, like it's not as hard to resist temptation and distraction and waste. So we have Emperor. So we're called to actually be that Emperor so that we can attract that equal into our lives. Because when you are working at this level on yourself and you have that much self-awareness and that much passion, then you want another person like that by your side. And that doesn't mean that they have, you're attracting in someone based on money and status and worldly power. But this is someone who has the capacity to be a survivor, be able to have faith in hard times, stand by you when it counts the most, do the courageous thing, all right? Look at world events right now. Would you rather be married to the Prime Minister of Nepal who left his wife in a burning building to fend for herself when she couldn't even walk? She's a paraplegic, who was wealthy and a billionaire? Or would you rather be married to one of the men who's done whatever it takes to provide for their family during the absolute most despicable tragedy that we've ever watched play out over the last 2 years, who have showed up no matter what and even helped others in the process, right? So it's not about material like resources or worldly power, but about that spiritual power and that ability to not waste away or go into escapism, but be grounded and be able to be a foundation for one another. So that starts with one becoming that way with themselves, and then they do have the foundation to be that for their partner as well. Okay. And then find balance. So we've had the 2 of Pentacles come up this week at the beginning of the week. That was one of the anchor messages of the week. It was like we have to have this sense of balance where we have to figure out how to get everything, all of our responsibilities taken care of, still go get after it, fulfill our part in putting discipline and effort towards our goals, but we have to also be light and playful and take time to rest and take time to decompress and take time to dance through the forest and have a vibe and put on a cottagecore outfit, and it's like, it's the only way that we can maintain the softness of heart to be able to keep our heart open to all the needs in the world right now, right? Because it can be very overwhelming and you want to reach for that armor again, and you want to shut the door, and you want to pull down the blinds, and you want to turn on practical magic and light a candle. But you can do both, right? So it's like you have to be able to allow yourself to be, and give yourself a service and be humbly serving others, and yet also give yourself time to renew your spirit and take the time you need for your own inner reflection and your own spiritual nurturance. Right? Like tonight, I'm looking forward to enjoying my candles. I might crack my windows open, and I'm gonna watch my Kabbalah class and eat some cheese and maybe watch Practical Magic. So I bought it a while back, so I have a digital copy in the streaming services. So maybe it's a Practical Magic night. But yeah, sometimes we need that little bit of confectionate sugar moment to continue on with eating our veggies, as it were, with the meeting the needs of the planet and our inhabitants within this planet, within our solar cosmic community out there. All right, that is all for tonight, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow for our weekend reflection message, and then Saturday night will be another episode of Secret Teachings of Jesus. I will say this, one of our friends from work is moving across country, and probably soon there's going to be a going away thing for him. So if that happens Saturday, that will be probably the only reason that we won't have a Secret Teachings of Jesus episode. All right, that'll be all for tonight. Peace.